Hello, we're back. It's been a
Hi.
while. Yogi
been a
is
long
out
while.
being, I was going to say, yeah, Yogi's out being husband of the year. Chip is at a concert. Brandon is just living. But back from Australia, she came back with milk. It's in the fridge. Who cares about me? Hello, Eboni. Welcome back. If I had sound, I would have applause and everything going.
No worries. Hi. So
Hi.
good to see you. I'm dying. I'm so sleepy.
Yeah, I was going to say, flying and going backwards in time probably will fuck up your sleep schedule, I'm sure.
Just a tad, but it's okay.
Yeah. But we are back. This is Walking 90. For those that don't know, we talk about all things USL League One. However, one of the things we are going to make sure to talk about, because I feel like it is very important, and it's kind of one of those where if we didn't mention it, it would just be bad on our part.
Yeah.
So, with that, before I kind of get into that part of it, Eboni, talk about Australia. Talk about everything that you were doing all the way in the land down under first, just so people know where the hell you've been for the past month.
All right. So I went to Australia for the Women's World Cup with friends of the pod, Shea Butter. I was just there to help them produce content, keep everything kind of flowing. So I did their videos. I helped them produce one podcast while we were over there. Basically, I was just their content creator while I was there. So a lot of photos, a lot of video, a lot of makeshift interviews on the fly, a lot of networking and talking, kissing babies, shaking hands, all that jazz. And now I'm back in LA because traveling was hell. And I needed some time before
Take a break instead of, I was going to say, that's a lot of flying in one day.
Yeah. So here I am.
All right. We are glad to have you back. So, yes, the important thing I want to talk about, Walking 90 is aware of potential podcasts in Garden Valley, California, that is being used to promote USL League One event. This is not true. The event and participants are not affiliated with Walking 90 or 2 Cents FC in any way.
That was the greatest 2 hours online for League One in its entire history.
So, need to get that disclaimer out of the way because I know people have been wondering what's going on with that.
That was literally, I was like, I'm in another country and I'm like, I need everyone to wake up and look at this.
I was just so confused because I just saw the tweet because it came at 5:30. It was evening. It was a Friday evening. So I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, what is going on? Because I was like, well, hold on. USL League 2, they're in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they just had their final. So there isn't any games going on. So thanks to Brandon for trying to snoop it out. But I guess there was something going on in Canada. So yeah. I'm blaming Drake.
Always Drake. It's anytime anything bad happens in Canada, it's always Drake's fault.
Anytime anything good happens in Canada, it's not because of Drake. So right.
He's an emotional terrorist. Shout out to Sills for that one.
I'm just waiting for it. I just need to decide. Are you going to be Jamaican? Are you going to be a roadman? Are you going to be, over in the UK? Are you a drill artist? Not pick an identity, please.
Pick none. Stop making music.
Well, that's not going to happen. There's too many people there's too much money. He's not losing that money. But the other thing, Eboni, while you've been gone, do you have any questions about what the fuck has happened while you've been gone that you want to ask so I can try my best to answer?
What is happening in Tormenta? Because the whole Cassini thing, I remember waking up to messages about it and I was like, oh, he's just leaving in the middle of a season. You're still pushing for a playoff spot. And no, mainly the Tormenta thing. I want to know what's going on with Richmond because I was traveling with a Richmond fan, and then I met Dougie for a couple of games at the World Cup, and he's also a Richmond fan. So what's going on there? Y'all okay?
I will answer the Tormenta one and Cassini and give you a simple, I don't know what the fuck is going on down there. Because on the one hand, Tormenta has yet to decide if they're going to make a serious playoff push or if not. Because they go and win like 2 games in a row and they lose 2 games in a row. And then they go and are leading against NoCo for the majority of the time and then drop 2 points on a late goal that NoCo scores. I don't know what this team is supposed to be doing. I think in their last 5 games, they've won 2, lost 2, and drawn 1. So just kind of explain the roller coaster. And when you are in the playoff spot, you probably should win game.
Like, it's the fact, like, so obviously I was trying to follow NCFC while I was over in Australia. ESPN and VPNs can go fuck itself.
I was going to say, good luck with trying to navigate that. YouTube. YouTube was what you were supposed to use.
Didn't know. I was trying to use ESPN, and it did not work. But, like, the Tormenta in the 3-2 loss, you give up 2 PKs, and then you give up a third randomly. Like you're doing a lot here, Tormenta, and I don't know whether to take you seriously, but you're in 7th and you're 2 games back from a playoff spot. Like, those numbers, I mean, granted, you've played more games, but you're still right there, and you can beat Ford Madison. So you're not far from them. What are you doing?
It is weird because the only game they've lost, like the game that they lost in the last 5 was to Charlotte on the road, which you mentioned. And then the next game, they go and rattle off 3 goals in quick succession in the second half against Madison. And then, again, they almost beat NoCo. They barely get by Fuego, lose to NCFC, lose to Omaha, and you're thinking, okay, this is where the wobble happens again. But then you look at their schedule, and it's like, actually, they might be fine because they played Knoxville. They played Chattanooga Saturday.
Yep. They have their only playoff team games left is NCFC, Richmond's no longer in the playoffs, and NoCo.
And Omaha.
Is Omaha in the
Omaha's Speaking of Omaha, Omaha's won 5 games in a row, and they're now currently sitting in 2nd.
How the fuck? So what happened to NoCo at that point then? Because NoCo, we were battling NoCo for a while. Then first we were battling Charlotte for a while for the first place spot, and we were battling NoCo, and now we're looking at Omaha. Where did Omaha come from? Why is that?
Yeah, basically Omaha, like I said, they've won their last 5 games. That has been a huge reason for why they have climbed the way they did. Also, NoCo and Richmond are the 2 teams right now that I could not tell you what has legitimately happened to them. And it's weird because it's not as though NoCo has had any major injury that we're aware of. With Omaha, it is a combination of the schedule definitely got easier. Like, since they lost 3-0 to Lexington, it got easier for them. They played Tormenta, got a 3-2 win. That was a good win for them and scrappy. They beat Lexington, they beat Knoxville, and those 3 games are all at home. So then it's like, okay, win your home games against teams that are mid-ish table. But then they go into NoCo and beat them 3-2. Get Chattanooga at home again. So part of it is the schedule definitely got easier for them, and it's been very home heavy. And then the other part of it is they are remembering how to score goals again. So that is how Omaha has pretty much turned it around. It's a combination. NoCo, I don't know how to properly explain it. It's like they beat Richmond at the end of July, and like July 22nd. Then they lost to NCFC, lost to Charlotte, lost to Lexington in a chaotic game, lost to Omaha, drew Greenville, drew Tormenta. So that is 1, 2.
That's a heavy skid, but also Jake
6 winless.
But Jake, yes, anytime Omaha can get a chance to make a derby or a rivalry, they will do it. So probably.
I think they actually legitimately did try one time at some point.
For NoCo in Omaha?
Yes, I think there was, because NoCo's like the baseball team that's playing at that new stadium. I think that's like I think it's like owl themed or something.
What?
Yes.
Next topic.
All right. So Richmond, if NoCo's sliding, Richmond has fully nosedive like that Russian play that happened earlier. Like it's that level.
Oh, they're done for the season. Like there's no way.
It's bad. I mean, I'm okay with it because one of those losses was against Fort Madison, which clinched the Henny Derby. So for me, I was whatever. But no, I could not tell you.
8 unbeaten in a row. And then so the reason I was so pissed is because they were on a very bad skid. NCFC was up 2-1 against them. And then they let them score that late goal to tie it. I'm like, what are you doing? But then we come around
and blow a 2-0 lead.
Right. And then you get demolished at home against us again. And it's like, what do you like? Where did the wheels fall off? What happened? Where was there an injury or a big point in the season where you just stopped? Because that's what it feels like.
It feels like mid-June because they get to June and they're doing okay. They won like 2 of their last 4. They had just beaten Fuego.
Yep.
They lose to Fort Madison in the Henny Derby Juneteenth one. Okay, fine. Get a draw against Knoxville in the following week. Beat Chattanooga July 1st, and you're thinking, okay, they figured it back out. That is their last win.
Yes.
Is July 1st. They're going almost 2 months without winning a game. I don't know what happened either. And that's the part that's weird is it just feels like they can't hold on to a lead. Like if they get a lead, they just choke it away.
I mean,
the only exception is that North Carolina one where we scored at the final minute.
Right. I mean, because look at the Richmond Kickers game. I mean, the Charlotte game. They were up 2-1, gave up a last-minute goal in the 85th.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were up 2-1 after 16 minutes and then own goal their way to a draw. Like, the final kick for the NCFC game was the only one that was a positive for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're up 2-0 and go down 3-2 to Chattanooga. I don't know about that. And then you just got dominated at home. And you scored a last-minute goal because apparently we can't defend in the last 5 minutes. I don't know.
It's definitely looking bleak for Richmond. Like, playoffs is probably not a possibility, but if they can't win, basically next week, like this next week is do or die for them.
If they can't beat Lexington and Fuego, season's over.
Yeah.
Lexington's already streaky. Like, they've had some really good wins, but they've also had some really tough losses over the last couple of games. But that thriller where they came back and won 4-3 and the 3-2 Fuego game, no. They keep losing to Knoxville, which is no fun. I mean, that's your new rival. But that team, Lexington has always been like a up and down squad that we've been trying to figure out. So
Lexington is just exactly what we thought. Like they're definitely a team that they're good enough that they can catch you and beat you, and it wouldn't completely be a surprise.
We talked about it at the beginning. Well, when we talked about it at the beginning, it was the built versus bought model, and neither team that came into the league is having success in either of those models right now, because they either heavily depended on an academy that wasn't really there, or that's starting to finally get their footing, and they versus a team that bought a lot of veterans that weren't already good in the league anyway, and now they're just trying to piece it all together. Like they've had some good wins with them, but you're sitting in 8th now, and you could potentially still make the playoffs, but it doesn't look likely with the guys that you have.
Right. And
especially the ones not
scoring. Just with the teams ahead of them as well.
Right. Oh, that too. Like the teams ahead of them are way on a better streak than anybody could have imagined. I never imagined that Greenville was going to be in 5th based off the beginning of the season. But they're also a team that knows how to come back from all of that and play and get to a final. So,
well, and that was one of the things that when we asked the question on Twitter, like, do you have any questions? And Yogi and I talked about it last episode. We were saying, like, is anyone outside the playoff picture currently going to sneak in? And we were thinking maybe Richmond, maybe Tormenta could, but then which team is dropping out? And it's like, could be Charlotte. Ford Madison has definitely stumbled a little bit, but this is also a team that it's another one where these next 2 games, they get Chattanooga and Fuego. You have to win those games. But then again, the last time Ford Madison said Chattanooga and Fuego back-to-back, they lost those games. So, I mean, there's enough of a cushion for all these teams that they're okay. But it's still hard for me to sit here and look at. I mean, Omaha's done enough to get themselves safe. I feel like North Carolina's safe. No worries there. Omaha's looking more safe based off of this run. Even if they have a little wobble, they're probably okay. Charlotte, maybe, but they're 8 games clear. NoCo, despite their slide, still have 2 games at hand on Tormenta and Knoxville. It's like, it's just hard for me to see it.
The biggest problem with Charlotte is they've played the most games out of anyone in a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
So everybody could be looking at them and going, oh, well, they'll finish before us. So maybe we just need to see them slide once and then we can make that game up and still have a game in hand. The great thing also good thing is NCFC and NoCo have played the least amount of games in the playoff picture right now. So we're really controlling our destiny, us both, NoCo and NCFC.
And I was going to say, with like Charlotte, I mean, even if Greenville, NoCo, and Fort Madison all win the games out of hand on Charlotte would be 5th unless Fort Madison and Greenville significantly just had a huge goal-scoring win just based on the goal difference. So it's just, it's really hard for me to kind of look, and it's like, Charlotte played the same amount of games Tormenta and Knoxville, and that's an 8-point, like trying to make up an 8-point gap is hard. Like if you're Knoxville or Tormenta, you're probably looking at Greenville and Fort Madison as the 2 teams you want to try and catch. Well, and even then, they're still 5 points back and those Greenville Madison have a game in hand.
Well, the next game for Charlotte is Knoxville, so that's actually a 6-point swing. So that helps them, but Charlotte has some really tough people coming up, and a lot of those people are in the playoffs. NoCo, Forward, Omaha, and Tormenta battling for that last spot. They've got some teams that are just going to come at them, and they're doing some good scoring right now, like a 4-1 win, 3-2. Like even in the loss, you still put 2 in the net. Then you got 3 more, and then you got 2 more. You better hope all of those players stay very hot because you have 2 players that is cooking for you right now, and you better hope
there's only so much that can do.
Right.
I also think it's just hard with considering the schedule. Like Tormenta still has, they play Knoxville, so that's going to be an interesting one where it's kind of like the loser goes home. But they play Omaha still. They play Charlotte a few times. They play North Carolina one more time. So it is going to be interesting how Tormenta's schedule, can they handle that burden? And Knoxville, it's not as tough for them, but they're still playing Greenville. They're still playing Madison. They're still playing it's going to get tougher for both of these teams, which is why I think unless Madison, Greenville, or Charlotte have a significant slump, I just think it's kind of hard to see someone catch them and make the playoffs. It can happen. I mean, like I said, Richmond's gone 2 months without winning a game. We've seen Fort Madison last year go a significant time without winning games. So a long winless stretch can happen. I just don't see it happening just based off of what we know and what we should expect out of Charlotte, Greenville, and Forward.
So we're talking playoffs because we are truly towards the end of the season, and we don't know.
Yeah, 10 to 12 games. Actually, 9 to 12.
Yeah, barely. Well, yeah, about that. How many games do you think it takes for clubs to start looking at clinching scenarios?
North Carolina probably in the next 2 or 3, honestly. Yeah, I think with them having the games at hand, I think North Carolina probably could do it in 2 or 3 games. Omaha, probably 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say Omaha's like 4 or 5 if they continue playing as well as they are. North Carolina could easily be in 2 or 3, at least getting a playoff spot. And then NoCo, Charlotte, Greenville, Madison, probably in like 6 to 8.
So that means it's coming down to the final few weeks of the season.
Yeah. Like, I would not be surprised if we got into October and the playoff is already set and it's just more seeding, trying to figure out seeding. That would not surprise me.
That's different. Okay. So then do you think the 6 teams in the playoffs right now are what we're basically looking at for the playoffs come end of season?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know like what order, other than North Carolina being first. I couldn't tell you what the like 2 through 6 would be, but I think it's just asking a lot out of Knoxville and Tormenta to not only win a lot of these games, including against playoff teams and even against each other, but to then also hope that Madison, Greenville, like some of these other teams, have a big enough slump.
We're asking a lot for people that are like for other people to help you out, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
Do you think that NCFC is doing a lot of pushing for that first spot and potentially the final because this is their last season in League One?
I don't see why they wouldn't. Well, I think part of it is there's no team that's playing better than them. Like, they have the highest goal difference. They have the most wins. They have been... It would be shocking if they didn't get the 1 seed at this point. And I think it would be a nice boost, not only to the org to have, end the season with the regular season title. You get to host the playoff games. You use that momentum to carry it when they go back up to USL Championship. Like, I could see them going for it just to create that goodwill and momentum to get them up to the championship, which is something I wanted to ask you about. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Just because I think when it was announced, I think you had just gotten to Australia, so you didn't. I know when Yogi and I recorded last, we didn't have a chance to really talk too in depth about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a higher league, but I don't know if it would be it's going to be obviously a better talent pool just because it's more money and things like that. But the squad they have built in League One is going to compete just fine in championship. And a lot of players are getting their opportunity here in League One to like prove themselves that they want to stay on that squad for championship. So it's going to suck to leave League One just because I love the league. It's fun and it's entertaining and more entertaining on some nights than championship or MLS. But it only helps these players get more viewership to go on to like maybe another MLS team or anything like that,
or abroad,
yeah. But we've had a lot of players League One that have made it to their national teams just because the league has been very, very good for them. So it'll be fun. I'll still be here though because we've got Wilmington in League One now, so it's like a swap.
Not official, but likely. If they can get up to the stadium,
which I think will be fine because USC Wilmington is right there, so they could literally do a Greenville thing. And then is the Hammerheads one still available? Is that stadium still out there? I don't know.
I'll have to check.
Yeah, I don't know. My goal is to get out there just to like talk to people and be like, what do you think? Eventually, like before the season starts. So, it'll be good to be back up top. But if there was Pro-Rel fucking USL, it wouldn't fucking matter. What do I know?
Now, why would you think there's going to be Pro-Rel? What would give you that idea? Just because they didn't vote on it doesn't mean the idea is dead. They just got to figure out all the goddamn logistics like we talked about. But it is it's interesting. You didn't mention, the Greenville situation and getting the stadium and UNC Wilmington, and it kind of segues into this other point. This isn't a USL League One thing; it's just a USL Championship / USL. But I think it has a rippling effect of San Diego Loyal's news that this is pretty much their last season unless they figure out a stadium situation immediately. So I think the biggest thing that they were saying was, oh yeah, we couldn't find a stadium that would work and find the area. Like, we couldn't find the stadium and the facilities to do what we want. Even though I think we all kind of know, like, it's because they have the MLS team coming in.
Yeah, it's pretty much they're pretty much saying the quiet part out loud of they killed us and we don't know what to do about it. So, and then to see that statement come out from San Diego FC was also really trash. Yeah, no one wants to hear from you today. I don't know why you're here. Go be sad on a beach.
You don't have to say anything. It's probably better if you don't. Like, USL was willing to die. Like, say, it's on us. We're going to work. We could not find a solution for them. Like, they were willing to take blame, even though we all know they weren't actually going to take blame.
Right. It was literally like hey, we fucked up and we're going to take it. And then San Diego was like, no, it's completely our fault. And we're happy to take the reins. And you guys, thanks for doing all you did, but it's our turn now. And we're like, I hope you literally just alienated like a good quarter of San Diego. And they're not coming to your games. And I don't know why you thought they would. Like, San Diego Logo doesn't care about your MLS team. They just want their team. I remember that feeling because there was a period of time where we didn't know what NCFC was going to do. And we were just like, we just want to see our team play. And then they said, we're going to League One. And I was like, I will be there. Here's my money.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the interesting part is I know people are saying, like, because I was kind of like, okay, why don't they go down to League One? Like, was that not an option? And they're saying they didn't have the money. Like, people are saying, like, they didn't have the money to keep the stadium. They didn't have a stadium lease, like, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, I'm kind of thinking, like, could they? Like, I get, like, things are probably very expensive. But it almost felt as though, and this is where I wish someone would have been able to explain it better to me, like someone that is more closely connected with San Diego. Just because I feel like that still would have been a better option. Like, the locals, which was the supporter group, they were dedicated to that team. Like, they would go. Kind of like what you're saying. They would be there. They would go. If they dropped out of League One, those fans would show up. Because now they're going to be too pissed off at the MLS team. And your other option is the NISA team, which who knows what's going to happen with NISA and that team as well. So... And I think that's also the part that's interesting is, the USL's using the Loyals supporter groups and promo videos and all that, and yet they couldn't. It just feels as though it was an MLS thing, but at the same time, I don't know how that is going. Like, if it's all going to come down to stadium, how does that affect a team like Greenville or Omaha? I mean, I don't think any of them would necessarily fold because of that, but like, we're getting that same sense with all these teams. Like, you need to have a stadium. Like, you need to have your supporter section stadium in place if you're coming into the league, it kind of feels like. Or you need to have, like, ownership of it at the very least.
Yeah. To answer Barry's question, McGinnis was, like, he was in a sense a coach that knew of soccer, but the Gaelic football and like US football didn't align, and he was using a lot of Gaelic tactics to try to get a game finished, and I'm like, that doesn't work. I think Charlotte made the playoffs like 1 year when he wasn't even there for a year. I don't think, was he? I completely forgot about McGinnis. Well, mainly because we were in the league at the same time, and I know that I don't want to say he was bad. He was just very unprepared for what U.S. soccer was versus what he was used to in Ireland. So they didn't really give him a fair chance, and B, give him enough time to learn. And that kind of just fucked their whole season. So
yeah, I feel like it's kind of tough because I also feel like America was also at the point where, hey, you're English or you're from the UK, you can coach.
That's basically what it was. It was like, hey, you seem like you heard of soccer before and you're not an American voice. Let's get you in here. And it like, I'm a biggest Charlotte hater of all time, right? It wasn't fair to him. So I don't think he could come back to this league until he had like a full year's worth of like not important games to learn and understand what this league is and how to navigate not only USL but US soccer in general with like the Open Cup and all that jazz.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe he'll get that opportunity, like maybe a Spokane. Like, I'm not saying Spokane will, but like maybe a Spokane, maybe a Santa Barbara, where they're new. That gives him a chance to kind of learn it as well. Maybe he goes down to USL League 2 even, or goes to like if he goes somewhere and kind of figures out American soccer, maybe he comes back. But I would be shocked if he came back at a high-level USL League 1 team.
Yeah, I feel like he would do fine once he got more time under his belt of like what this soccer landscape is, and I would love to see I would just love to see him back, just because they played well, but they didn't play well for 90 minutes in any of the games. So there was like a solid 30-minute period or a solid like 25-minute period, and then Charlotte just fell apart, and it was like, okay, well, with the talent that you had, you probably shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. But going on to the next one of the questions we had, I think this is probably going to be the most in-depth part of the show, I'm sure. Getting the question from John Hunt at J_Hunt1123. He said, what cities from the McCullers Sports website that don't have a team yet do y'all think will be getting a USL team first? And I'm not going to lie, when I saw this, and I think Chip had found like that list and it was mentioning cities, and one of them was Roanoke. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. You don't need another Southern team, first of all.
Roanoke Rapids?
I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, all it said, like, if you go to their website and under projects, all it mentions for Roanoke is MSG was retained by the USL to facilitate a franchise in USL League 1 in Roanoke. The process has included relationship building with public officials, local stakeholders, other pro forma, et cetera, et cetera. But that was interesting that they specifically said USL League 1, because all the other ones that are there, like they had Spokane, they had Northwest Arkansas, they had Albuquerque, like, and Santa Barbara, like they had all these other ones, but none of them mentioned USL League 1 except Roanoke. And then that's kind of the one where I was like, wait. And that wasn't even the one that like piqued my interest the most.
The Chicago suburb one is piquing my interest. That's been my, like, first of all, they can barely, like, I don't want to say barely support, but it's already a struggle for them to get Chicago Fire fans and Red Stars fans because you don't connect well with the city. So what are you doing differently about a Chicago suburb to bring a third team into there? And this is where I would love to hear from like Black Fires or 134. Like, do you support a third team coming in when the first two are already struggling to make the?
And that's not even including like Chicago House.
I forgot about Chicago House.
Yeah. Like, that's not even including them, and I think there's another, like, UPS. Yeah. I don't know how that's going to work.
Clearwater. There we go.
Clearwater. Edgewater. Yeah. Edgewater Castle. The suburb is Wooddale.
So
I'm looking at the map and I'm sitting here. I was like, it looks like it's kind of over by like Schaumburg, Rosemount, like southwest of Des Plaines.
there we go. So a Chicago fan. Absolutely not. So
yeah.
So you're gonna put a third team into an area where they can't connect with the people that are there already. Like what the sector Latino look like in that area? Like,
I mean,
what does Black Fires look like in that area? Does it have a presence? And
that's the thing. I feel like this would be the ultimate like soccer mom bring like your 6-year-old out.
Well, that's what the Red Stars are supposed to be.
But at least the Red Stars' biggest problem is the owner is a pile of trash.
Yeah.
Like if they sold the team to a competent, decent human, I think the Red Stars would be better drawing people in again. Because at least then, like, you're not pissing off your core fans because your owner just let a bunch of abuse run rampant. I think if the Red Stars, if they just get new ownership, that can steadily improve. I don't know about the Fire. I feel like that's a whole. We would have to talk to Jake and Phil, and they would have to probably spend like 3 hours. And I know they don't want to do that. Yeah, so, I just don't think one in Chicago would work. That was the one I saw. I was like, where the fuck would that play in?
Yeah, but then to go the other way with Seattle, and it would. I don't know. Like Spokane already, it was struggling with their USL League One team. They were coming in with one.
Right. And then you still have Lane United.
I was thinking Tacoma. Yeah, I was thinking of Tacoma. So my bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if Spokane also works. Like Seattle fans are going to go up for their teams no matter what. Like you mentioned, Ballard has built this really cool following, and they are really tapping into the area that they're in and showing it a lot of love. But it's just a matter of like what do you call it, accessibility. Because I was there, so I had to go to Seattle to get my passport, rushed for a day. Look, and I got look. Okay, it was a lot happening, and I got to. Obviously, I have friends in Seattle. I'm a huge Seattle Sounders fan, and we talked about just like accessibility to Ballard because the train line doesn't go there. So you would have to get off the train and get on a bus to go out that way or drive out that way. I think a lot of people love Ballard, and they like if they wanted to, they would get there. But some of these, like the Chicago suburbs, like how are you getting there? No,
you're driving your car,
right? So then, what does that look like for tailgating and supporter group activities and things like that? But that's also a thing that I was looking at when I was looking at these names. Like, who the fuck is going to Roanoke Rapids here in North Carolina? Well, not here, but in North Carolina, I'm not doing that. Like,
and I think the other ones, it's like you look at the other ones, it's like there's already a team there. Yeah, they have they mentioned Albuquerque. Yeah, there's already a team. They're already working on it. Northwest Arkansas, they're getting a team. They're working on it. Memphis, already a team. Like all these other spots, like Knoxville is one. Like there already is a team there or something in the works. So it's kind of like you don't have to worry about that. Even Jacksonville, that's where I was kind of sitting here like, but Roanoke, I don't understand that. And with Wooddale, it'd just be that's just a hope that you just get everyone from the suburbs to drive there, which, yeah, you might get some people, but you're not going to get enough. I mean, New Hampshire was on there, and we all know how I feel about New Hampshire and Portland. Basically, that's just not happening. Still think it's a Ponzi. I still think it's a Ponzi scheme. Like, still not convinced. But yeah, I think like Lane United, they have the plan of going to the USL League One. I don't know when that's going to happen, but there's like the story that was written recently about Lane United journey to USL League One. that was floating around the Reddit, but I don't think it
Reddit
really answered any questions on like if they're coming.
I mean, I see the need for more to come. Sorry, yeah, I should have put that up.
Oh no, that just came in. So
yeah, I saw it in my head and I was reading it. League One needs to expand west so badly. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, there's
not only do they have to expand west, but they need to just look at not the southeast. And that's not me being a general hater. That's just a fact. Like, there's no team in the northeast. There's no team. Fuego's the only team out west. Yes, you'll get Santa Barbara and Spokane, which helps. You got Madison and Omaha in the Midwest, but that's not enough. Like, you need more Midwest. You need more West. You need Northeast.
I want you to take the Southeast region off the map because I'm done. I'm so done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Please stop. I'm not kidding. Like, we don't need a Southeastern team. Wilmington, fine. That's it. You get one more. We get one more in the Southeast, and we'll take Wilmington. I
mean, at this point, you might as well add them all. Fuck it.
No.
but I agree. I can't. You're talking about saturating a market like you're doing with San Diego Loyal and San Diego State. The South is full. No more. You are no more. We are good. Expand other ways so that we can start actually getting like a Western Conference and an Eastern Conference so that we can have something like the championship where we have the playoffs and the North and the East and West play each other, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Up and down, sideways, left is right, time is a flat circle.
But I feel like when USL League One was talking about all this expansion, we would have gotten the understanding, like, yeah, it would have been like a countrywide expansion. It hasn't been that. But, oh well.
I agree. They did overcorrect. Everyone was like, we're hungry for soccer down here. And everyone was like, no, you're not. You don't believe in soccer. And then everyone was like, oh, wait, Atlanta, let's put 16 teams in the South. And now here we are. And I'm like, I barely have enough time to cover my own ass. And here we are trying to cover 16 teams in one region.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting here, I'm like, we got Omaha, we had Lansing, and that's gone. Yeah, my closest drive is 8 hours. Love that.
Honestly, I would love to see Des Moines.
But they're going championship. Now, if Pro Relevant happens, that's a possibility. Milwaukee, another one. Like, yeah, if I cared enough about the championship, Milwaukee would start sounding a lot more appealing because, like, okay, Indy's right there, Des Moines right there, like Detroit. Awesome. But no, I got the one drive. But yeah, I think that's all I got for the stadium stuff and expansion. Before the final part, is there any games that you want to talk about, Ed, that happened in the last week? I know we kind of talked about like what the fuck was going on with some of these teams, but last week, Tormenta beat Madison 4-2. Omaha beat Chattanooga 2-1. NoCo drew Greenville.
Duluth.
What?
Duluth? Duluth is coming into the, or is Duluth's not coming into a league, or is this just a? Okay.
I think they have a team. I just don't think they have a team. They have like an actual team. I just don't know if they're in League Two or UPSL or NPSL, whatever it is.
I get the feeling that once like figures start coming out and like
I don't want to
they
talk
realize
about that because
and look and they decide like they realize the fee is not that bad and they can like operate for at least a couple years. I think you're going to see a lot of these NISA teams and UPSL teams start to jump into the USL pyramid, and we're going to get a lot more accessible driving games for everyone to enjoy. So
I can see a lot of them, but Chattanooga out of the NISA group come over in some way, shape, or form, and then eventually I can see some of like the UPSL. But I don't want to talk about Tormenta because that game was ridiculous.
So I wasn't here for it. So why was it ridiculous?
So okay, we got to go back. Tormenta played Madison like a month ago in Madison. Kristen Cheney scored in like 17 seconds. And then Cassini scored like 4 minutes later. So it went into halftime 1-1. And then in the second half, Tormenta scored in like the 48th minute, the 55th minute, and like the 59th minute. It was ridiculous. Then we get to this past Saturday. Madison goes up 2-1 at halftime. And Tormenta score in the 49th minute, the 55th minute, and the 69th minute.
Y'all okay up there?
No, I don't know. It was just a bad game. I don't know if it was like the humidity I don't know. It was just bad. It was just one of those where everything looked good in the first half and then something happened in the second half and the wheels fell apart. Yeah, I really don't know what's going on with Cassini. Like, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, that's a little wild to just up and leave in the middle of a season, especially, like I said in the beginning, you're in the middle of a playoff hunt, bro. Like,
yeah. My only guess is just maybe he's got a chance to play back in Brazil and be home. Like, maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but it was odd just because, yeah, there's still like 10 games, like 9-10 games. Yeah. And you're just out. But so yeah, that was one of the games. Tormenta just, I don't know what it is with Madison Tormenta, but Tormenta just seems to have Madison's number lately. North Carolina beating Richmond 3-1. That was good. Knoxville, claimed the Barrel Derby, whatever.
They won their first trophy, their only trophy this season.
They got something. So
they got something. Yeah, it's fun when you beat a rival. Like, so it's always a good time. Yeah, I'm happy for them. That's good though.
Yeah, so that's what happened in the past week. Last night, Greenville beat Chattanooga 2-1, and NoCo and Tormenta drew 2-2. Tormenta was leading, and then NoCo got a very late goal to equalize. I was partially happy with that because I was like, you know what? Tormenta dropping points is better for Madison at this stage, so need that to happen. So that's what happened yesterday. Upcoming this weekend, we got the belt battle, the El Pettico, Greenville versus Omaha. We got Lexington versus Richmond, North Carolina against NoCo, Chattanooga against Tormenta, Knoxville against Charlotte, and Fuego against Madison. Eboni, what is going to be your vibes match of this weekend?
Vibes is going to be Knoxville versus Charlotte.
Ooh. I was going to say North Carolina NoCo because I think that has a high vibe potential, but that's
They're battling too much for it to be any type of, like, it's going to be a dog walk. That game's going to be a lot of fouls, a lot of just unnecessary stuff. But it's also going to be boring. So
that's fair.
Yeah. But it's $2 beer night. So hopefully I'm back in time for me to catch that deal.
I was going to say, what time is your flight leave?
Good question. I land at 5. I remember that part.
Look, all I'm saying is you were hoping to make it back for the North Carolina match after the Henny Derby, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, that wasn't my fault.
But no, I'm still sticking with North Carolina. That is partially why Richmond has been so brutal as well this year. I think Fitzgerald is not being as good.
I don't think Fitzgerald plays next year, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. We'll need Yogi back for that. Yeah, my vibes game is still sticking in North Carolina NoCo. I think that has the potential to be just like a chill. I'll put it on and go about my day. Well, if I wasn't gonna go see Hadestown in New York, I would go. I would put this on TV. Chaos. There's a lot of strong options for chaos.
Mine is gonna be Lexington versus Richmond.
I had that as one of mine. I pretty much thought, okay, all the other matches like Greenville, Omaha.
It's going to be boring. It's going to be like 1-1, and we're going to have to hear about it on Twitter.
I think that's the thing. That one is a social media chaos because both sides are going to be unhappy if it's a draw or their team. Like, I feel like no one's going to be happy unless there's a winner. Then whoever wins will be happy. But if it's a draw, no one's going to be happy. Yeah. Lexington Richmond is very chaotic. Fuego Madison could be chaotic just because Christian Chaney is coming back to Fresno. And there's a section of a supposed Fresno supporter group that are just like going all out for Madison.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so there is a potential that there is a Fuego supporter group that is going to be on Madison's side cheering for them.
Okay.
That could get chaotic. I'm going Chattanooga Tormenta. That seems like one of these teams is going to do something stupid. And how many penalties is Tormenta
gonna give up?
Gonna give up again. Tormenta has been just running away with penalties galore this season. I feel like Knoxville got a lot of the penalties at the beginning, and now I feel like every game Tormenta is in, they get a penalty.
They're either giving or getting.
Getting or giving. That either. I'm gonna double check because I feel like there is a stat. Tormenta have been awarded 8 penalties.
Yeah.
Tied with Knoxville for the most.
But how many have they given up? They gave up 2 to us in one game.
They've conceded 6, which is tied for second with Omaha and Madison. NoCo and Chattanooga lead with 7.
2 Reds? That's
I don't know
fair.
about 2 Reds. I feel like there will be all red. I don't know which team.
Give me a red on each side so that the game can keep going. Because if you get to 3, then they have to forfeit the match.
I can see a keeper. Red.
Ooh, see, that's peak chaos. I knew we were here for a reason.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of chaotic possibilities going on, but that's gonna be my pick.
I'm gonna set the line at for amount of goals because I remember we were doing this beforehand. I'm gonna set it. There. It's fine. I'm gonna set it at 15.
I'll say over, and I'll say 17. Because I can see Knoxville and Charlotte either being very high scoring or like a 2-0.
That's the game carrying my number, but it's also going to be like the only game where there was something exciting happening, and I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under fair. At 13.
Because Greenville Omaha
it's going to be shit.
We've seen a 3-3 Greenville Omaha, but I think that's going to be more low scoring. I see Fuego Madison being like a 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, something like that. It really is going to come down to Knoxville, Charlotte, and can they provide the goals? Because
Knoxville, Charlotte.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't at least 3 goals in North Carolina and NoCo.
So the Lexington Richmond game gonna be high scoring. It's gonna be high scoring.
Neither team can defend.
Exactly, and as we just saw, Fitzgerald is letting in fucking gifts of goals. So I'm still going. It's just really going to be 3. It's just going to be those 2 or 3 games that bring the high scoring, and then everything else is going to be like 1-0 or 0-0 or 1-1.
Yeah, like I said, it's really that. I know I'm expecting Omaha and Greenville to be low scoring. I'm expecting Madison Fuego to be low scoring. I don't. If Knoxville Charlotte doesn't provide at least 2 goals, then I will be under. But I'll say over, barely. I'll say 17.
It depends on which Olex is showing up because he's good for a goal, but is he good for like a hat trick right now? He's playing
but you still got McLaughlin, you still got Rafa, you still got Louis Perez, you still got Mike. Like, you have enough other dudes that can score goals on that damn team. Yeah, maybe Anderson doesn't score, but they got like 6 other dudes that might.
I like that. I like that 3 of the top goal scorers are coming from NCFC. I said I looked at John Bradford and I was like, I need at least 4 forwards in the Golden Boot race because there's no reason for it not to be. And then Mikey hit that ripper like
the goal of the week.
Yeah.
So
I'm here.
All right. I think that's everything we got. Thanks everyone for watching and commenting. We will get the audio out tomorrow. I will have a special photo for said audio for the episode title. And it has nothing to do with the Dog Days of Summer.
No.
But I got to put it on there. So you'll see that tomorrow. Otherwise, enjoy the matches. I'm sure we'll record probably after Labor Day when we're back and available. I don't know.
Maybe they will have maybe they will have some playoff teams secured and we'll be looking at where we hosting. Oh, look at the Greenville fans. Definitely drawing with Omaha.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Keep your expectations low, and then you don't get disappointed. So I love that. I love that mentality.
Again, this is where the chaos comes in. They will not be happy. No one's gonna be happy. There's just no happiness anymore in this derby. But it's the same recycled asterisk jokes and COVID jokes, and that's it. I need new material.
Hopefully this game gives us some. I don't know.
It won't. We know that. But either way, we will see you later. Make sure if you see a biracial person that wants to deny their blackness, give them a Barbara Walters elbow, and we will talk to you later.
Keep the people's champ.